morning everyone, it is Kat from CrossStitch in New Zealand, Wellington, New Zealand. Today is Sunday, August 14th, 2022, and this is Flosstube number 16. Oh God, I'm organised today. Hi and welcome on in. For those that are new to my channel, thanks for stopping by, really appreciate it. And if you like what you see, please make sure you subscribe, and I'd love to have any comments or feedback or stuff like that. I do love getting all that. One of my favourite comments, which is a totally true statement, is that sometimes I can be a bit of a train wreck, in all honesty. I can go on different tangents, completely go in different directions from where I'm supposed to be going, but I do eventually end up back at the train station with a slightly wrecked train. But I like to, refer to it as welcome to the roller coaster. I'm not sure what the weather's doing today, so I'm just trying to keep my glasses where I can not reflect too much. For those that have come back, welcome on back. You're good people, I tell you. You're taking a risk. Never know. Okay, so thanks for coming on back. And for any of my new subscribers, can I just ask, if you want to leave a comment, that's cool. How did you find me? Because I'm trying to work out how my numbers have doubled in a couple of weeks. In what, a couple of months. So I'm just curious. Because I pretty much keep a low profile, I think. Maybe I don't know. Anyway, see, I'm starting to drift. Okay, so updates for the last fortnight. What are some updates, Bobby? You gonna say hi? Bobby's here. See, he's here. He's one of the updates. He had his 6th birthday on the 2nd. So he's getting old. He's getting up there. He's a bit grumpy with me because I got given this cookie, triple chocolate chip cookie, and he has the expectation he's getting some with complete not a chance. So yes, so my boy had lovely steak on his birthday. My daughter, for Jeffrey, for his brother, he got a bunch more toys. Honestly, that dog has got way more toys than a lot of kids. And another outfit. Poor dog. Sorry, I've just got my notes down there. I'm going to try and keep relatively on target today. And Monkey's just sitting over there ready to jump if I do the wrong thing. So that was good news in week 1. This week was a little harder. It was the 2nd anniversary of Dad passing on Friday, and it's strange. I sort of felt it more this year than I did last year. So it was it's been a pretty hard week. Not a lot of stitchy mojo, but I have reorganized my room, yes again, and happily put my pillows out and about and stuff like that. But yeah, it's been a bit of a subdued week. Worked from home for the first part and then had the rest of the week off, just to get myself organized for Friday. Anyway, but I'm doing okay. My darling came over on Thursday night. He managed to arrange his plans so that he'd be in Wellington. Got a hair that's driving me nuts. Wellington on Thursday night. He cooked me dinner because he knew I hadn't really eaten all week, which was lovely. It was really nice. And then the next morning he got up and he made me breakfast before he went off to work. And he made me my favourite breakfast if I'm going to eat breakfast, eggs Benny. Boy, just a piece of hair. Oh, and on Thursday night he dyed my hair. So I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's okay. Just be aware, this is going to be like a finger and electric socket material because I've tried using the straightener and it just won't. So here we go. It's not. It was with the straightener. It just goes poof. So there we go. So yeah, so I dyed my hair, just brightened up the red, which I like, made me feel good. And I'm rambling, sorry guys. Okay, so yes, I know he made me a lovely breakfast and then he left. Now I hadn't actually been down to the kitchen since before he got here. Now I'm here on my own and I haven't really eaten much all week, so I haven't really been in the kitchen apart from to make my coffee. And so I knew the kitchen was tidy. Now Lord love him, I so appreciated what he did. But oh my god, my kitchen was just like when I came out on Friday. So I had a bit of cleaning up to do. And I discovered I actually have a little pet peeve. I mean, I think I'm pretty laid back about everything, but for some reason it just bugged me. He'd left the margarine out, spread, you know, the butter spread out with the lid off. You know, it's pretty cold, no flies, so whatever. And I went to put the lid on and I looked in. Now, are you a scraper or a stabber? Because, you know, when you're completely off tangent here, sorry guys. You know, when you have your margarine or your spread or whatever, and you go to get some out to put on your bread or your toast or stuff, do you scrape the knife across the top or do you stab it in and gouge it out? Now, I'm a scraper. I just sort of think, you know, and you work your way down inside it and stuff. He apparently, which after, 8 years, I didn't know, he's a stabber. And for some reason it just irked me. I was bugged. It's like just the aesthetic of looking at the stabbed, chunked sort of thing. Yeah, never knew that about myself. So there you go. So this piece of hair is really just doing my head. Anyway, right. Okay. See, we're approaching a train wreck. Okay. Right. What am I doing? Okay. We have got a new start, some whips, finishes, no fully finished this week, this fortnight, sorry. I've got a bit of haul. I've got a few bits and pieces arrive, and and who I've been watching. So we'll do Floss Watch and that sort of thing at the end, and the haul at the end, and we'll just go through what I've been stitching on. And hopefully the lighting will work. The weather in Wellington this morning, it was really, really cold, which is another reason why I'm a bit later coming in. But also because I wanted to quickly run the iron over a couple of the items. Not a great ironing job. It didn't go overboard. I just wanted to straighten it out a bit. Okay, let's be serious. And then next door, the kids out there playing basketball, and I knew that would come through, and I'm just like, okay, but the weather keeps changing, so the clouds are moving quite quickly. So as usual, Wellington, it's windy, but it's quite a calm wind, but it is cold, and I needed to get this room warmed up because I've basically just been doing everything in my room, my bedroom, because then I'm just heating up one room. And are you going somewhere? What? What happened? You alright? Okay. Honestly, doesn't he look like that character on the Dark Crystal? You know, the little dog looking thing? Honestly. Anyway, so let's get into the shall we? Now that I've got room on my seat, because his butt was on there before, so I had to sit on the edge. So, I'm just going to pull this table over. He's not going to go far because he knows I've still got my cookie. Okay, so this was my new start, and this is the one that my daughter wanted. I'm not going to say, I'm just going to hold up what it is. Here we go. So she wanted this. Now, it's DMC. Bobby, cut it out. It's DMC, but I switched out all the colours for these ones. So we have got Gentle Art Cherry Wine, Gentle Art Sunflower, Weeks Dye Works Candy Apple and Weeks Dye Works Blaze. So here we go, that looks nicer. So there we go. So that's what's going to go into this one instead of DMC. And I made a start. Like I said, I just couldn't focus really a lot on any stitching for very long. But late last night, I just sort of thought, you know what, I haven't started that yet. I'm gonna start it. And so I quickly kitted it up with these because I hadn't even kitted it. And my fabric is Bare Branches. It's a 14 count opal from Jodyri, and there's my start. Actually, I'm just going to put a, here we go, my board behind it. So there we go. So that's my start, which I think is pretty good. It's a pretty good beginning considering I didn't actually start it until about 1 o'clock this morning when I finally decided I need to start something. Yeah, so I'm gonna work on that today because I'm actually quite enjoying that one. Not that I don't enjoy my others, but this one, it's just got me stitching again. Right, so the other one I said I was going to be starting was Jeremiah by Finally a Farmgirl. That's this one here. What I decided I was going to do was convert the entire thing to sulky threads. I was going through my petite boxes, and there's a mixture of, you know, there's like each box has 80 sulkies, and then I think 14 or 16 blended ones, you know, monkey. So I've got an old chair. Are you going to get back up here? Are you? Okay. Come on then. Come on, fat boy. Oh, great. Okay. Over here, come on. Come on. Oh, yeah. He's getting old. You just want to be close to the cookie. Yeah, so blendables. Sorry. And so I'd kitted it up with all the colours to start with. And then I grabbed my petite boxes and opened them up and basically did it that way with all the ones that I had. So I do have, so in the boxes for the petites, it does equal the first 160 colours plus 30 blendables, 30 of the variegated. So, you know, if you want to see one, just let me know and I'll make sure to show it next time because I left it in the other room. So, obviously I had no, this is what it was like last week, but this is what the design looks like. And this is now where I'm up to. So this is all done with the sulkies. And I must say, and it's just done a single strain. This is 14 count fabric. And I must say, the coverage is pretty darn good. This was really my first test at using sulky threads. And I'm actually quite impressed. I'm quite happy with my Jeremiah. I think it's pretty cool. So yeah, really happy with that. So as you can see, I love my little mouse. I mean, there's still bits in, you know, I haven't filled everything in, and I do think because of some of the colours that I chose, I'm probably going to have to add a little bit of extra back stitching, but that's fine, not a lot, just to sort of highlight a couple of bits. So I'm happy with that. This one is going to take a bit longer than anticipated because, or maybe it's just because of the frame of mind I'm in. But the Witchy Tea Time by Primitive Hare. I love this design. I really do. I think it's fab. And whereas I used to love stitching in a lot of black and doing a lot of black, you know what? I don't know. It's a little bit of a shift going on within me or whatever, but it's not holding my attention. It's really not. It's I start getting sleepy doing these big blocks of black. So what I've decided going forward is that as long as I put one length of black on each week, so I mean, I would like to finish it before the end of the year, but if at some point, you know, I'm having a day where I'm getting into it, then I'll do more than a length, but I need to try and get at least one length of thread each week into this to do at least a few hundred stitches on it at a time. So this is where I was up to, and this is where I am now. So as you can see, I've added in the orange along here, I've added in the cup and the orange band just because I needed some colour, because doing this black was doing my head. So this is the point here where I've stopped. I know that going up, that's where the cake is going to be sitting. So I'm hoping to be doing the cake in the next fortnight, but we'll see. Like I said, I love that design. But now, one of my whips I hadn't done any more on, and I still haven't stitched any more on it, but I have frogged what was needed. So you'll see on here, this is Welcome Foolish Mortals by the Witchy Stitcher, and you'll see that is that a G and an O? I'm trying to remember what was on there. Anyway, the two letters in between the face and the mortals, I decided I didn't like the variegation, and I kept on thinking, you know, it won't take me long to unpick it, and it didn't when I finally did it, but just the thought of unpicking anything never appeared. But I sort of thought, well, since I'm not in the mood to stitch, maybe I'll start unpicking. And so I now have my blank slate, so I can now continue filling him in. I do have to get some more black as well. Funnily enough, I won't actually mind doing this because it's not just block and block and block and block of black, and also it's sparkly. And the letters, again, it's not big blocks of one colour. I know that some people love doing those sorts of fill-ins, and that's fantastic. Good on them. I'm not one of them. I mean, you know, the fill-in ones where you do the outline, you fill it all in. I can't do that for very long before I start dozing off. It just doesn't hold my attention long enough to make any impact on this thing, unless I get very creative in how I stitch and the colouring in. So it's not going to be straight lines because that will put me to sleep. Okay, another one that I pulled out of the whips that wasn't planned on getting pulled out was Autumn Lane Stitchery Potions and Spells. Now the reason I did this is because Judy, an Aussie in a Kiwi world, is working on this one. This is one of the ones she wants to finish by the end of the year. So I said, well, hey, I'll pull mine out and I'll work on it too. I don't think I've gotten very far. I couldn't honestly remember. So this is where I'm up to, or where I was up to. And I haven't really done much else on it apart from actually finishing page 1. So to finish it, here we go. To finish it, I just needed to do the book because I hadn't done that. And there were just a couple of bits and pieces down here that needed to be added. And I've done the back stitch on her here. Because what I'm going to try and do with these sorts of ones now, which are multiple pages that I'm doing, before I go on to the next page, I'm going to try and complete each page, so that I don't have a lot of back stitching at the end, because I hate doing a lot of back stitching. So that's all I worked on in regards to whips and starts. But I do have some finishes. So they're just little ones. They're just something that I just sort of started and finished in a, you know, on the same day sort of thing. A couple of them I did 2 in a day. Just to sort of, yeah, limited focus. So now at the start of the year, Jeanette Douglas designed 3 mini bouquets, and you know, it was sort of designed to be all together, so you know, 3 by 4 in this lovely stitched frame and that sort of thing. As usual, I'm trying to sort of not do those sorts of ones, because I don't want big framed things on my walls, because I can't guarantee how much time I'll ever have any wall space. So I don't want a heap of framed items. But having little pillows and ornaments and flat folds and that sort of stuff, I can easily store those without having to worry about glass getting broken or that sort of thing. So I decided to do them all individually, and I also decided not to use any of the threads. What I did was I had a look at, like, I noted down all the threads that were, you know, between all of the different ones that have been released so far, and I noted, you know, about how many greens and how many blues and how many purples, and then I just went through my stash and picked out a whole bunch of overdyes and, you know, those sorts of ones, and I just put them all into a bag, and I picked from that. The only consistent thing I've done is that the frame around each of them is exactly the same overdyed. I think it's pea pod. Damn it. So much for being organised. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'll show you a picture of what January was supposed to look like. And I'm doing them all on Rustico, so 14 count Rustico oatmeal, which will go nicely with, you know, the other ones of the sort of similar sort of thing that I'm doing. And then this one here is my one. If I can find, where's the camera? There we go. So I don't know if you can see the colours. There we are. So that's January. I honestly don't know which colours I used on any of these, because I just grabbed a colour and stitched, and I didn't note anything down. So this is what February's was supposed to look like, and I sort of followed the colouring, and then I sort of did my own thing anyway. Oh, here we go. If I can, I'm going to see if I can, if I put this to the side, and I can show you who one next to my one, so you can see the difference. So it's February. Then we have March. Just trying to get the colours right. And we're in August now, right? So, and I literally started these last weekend. So this one's April. And this is May. So I'm 3 away from being fully caught up with the bouquets. And I actually find them really therapeutic to do. I was always a bit I don't know, it's not anxious, but I didn't, you know, it never appealed to me to do ones like that until I did like my pinker and pumpkin salt boxes, and just the way the leaves and everything like that, and I just sort of, it got me more curious about floral ones and how much fun you can have with that sort of thing. And now, because of that, my plans for the rest of this year and even into next year have completely changed, because I'm wanting to try out these other ones. Anyway, so for the Halloween challenge page on Facebook, Our challenge this month is to stitch any designs from the Just CrossStitch Halloween magazines. Doesn't have to be the most recent one. It can be any from, but they have to be one of the Halloween mags. Now I've got PDFs going back to, I think, 2012, I believe, of the Halloween mags. So I've got a lot to choose from, in all honesty. But both of the ones that I chose for last week and this week, or last week and the week before, were from the latest one. So if you had watched Stitch With Me, I gave that a test. That's the one that has that bold thing saying testing in the picture for the video. That's was my attempt, and this is what I had just started. So I had just done the black outline. Now, one thing I didn't mention on that test with me, or that Stitch With Me one, was that the reason the black was already on there is because I had actually already recorded a Stitch With Me. I had a brand new start, but I wasn't happy with it. So unfortunately I didn't check until after I'd finished all the black. And so I started all over again doing the other colours. Again, I switched out all the colours. Instead of just basic black for the Reaper, I chose Black Etoile. Instead of basic black for the cat, I chose Whisper, to fluffy. But the rest of it is, again, sulky. So here we go. This is this is stitched on Woolly Bear by Mystic Fabrics, 14 count. I don't know if you can get the variegation in the greeny sort of colour of his face and stuff, but I really love that, and I love the cat's face. As soon as I saw this is actually the reason why I got this year's magazine, because I was sort of thinking, oh, do I need another one? I still haven't stitched all those ones from the other years that I'd picked out, and it's like, this made me, I had to buy it. I really didn't have a choice. It was a must buy, because it is so me. And then the other one, I decided, oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Sorry. Yeah, I think it was the only one. Sorry, Bobby. I just wanted something small for this week because I already knew I was struggling with any sort of focus, and I was still working on Witchy Thyme, which is another one from the Just CrossStitch Halloween magazine, 2014, I think it was. So I just wanted something small, and I had this one on my list to do, so I chose some colours that I wanted to use. I'm going to see if I can get these to go on here nicely, which they probably won't because they're just going to be difficult. And I'm stitching this on the same piece of fabric that I'm doing Welcome Foolish Mortals. So there we go. Nevermore. And that is from the Halloween, Just CrossStitch Halloween 2022 magazine. Is that okay? So the threads I used for it is Simply Shaker. Gentle Arts Espresso Bean, Gentle Arts Antique Lace, Caron Water Lilies Graphite, which is 182, and Rolanda's number 38, so hand dyed by Rolanda. I want to, in particular, try to use not the mainstream ones, but the ones that I've got bits and pieces of, and not like full sets or anything like that. So I did another start and finish. So there's a couple of starts and finishes. Now the other thing I would have mentioned in the last one was the flag of Brunei. Of course I didn't take any pictures because that would have been silly. I'm going to have to ask if anyone took a picture of the cake or anything like that, because I didn't end up going. It was just not something I could do. I couldn't be around people. So, and it was only little. I was just in a rush to get it finished. It wasn't anything fancy. by the time I was finishing it, I'd pretty much lost the momentum. Now, the other one that I finally finished, absolutely finished, the whole dang thing, is Derwentwater Watermill. Now, as you'll see, here's where I was, and I said I'd finish it by this one, and I finished it, thank goodness. So there we go. So it's all done at last, including all the back stitch, and it's got gold thread, so it's got some Krennic on. Well, I think it's Krennic. No, it's not. It's just Light Effects. Sorry, I was trying to think of the dang name of the stuff, but really, really love this. I'm going to try and find some sort of rustic looking frame. I think it needs a rustic looking frame, or a like a greyish, what do you think? See, this is why I have got a box and a bag of finishes, because I'm honestly, I don't know. I'm great at picking colours and stuff like that when I'm, you know, putting the stitching together or doing colouring in, but dang it, no. Okay, so that's what I worked on for the last 2 weeks. Maybe there was a little bit more than I thought. Didn't seem like much when I was working it out. Now, a couple of weeks ago, I mentioned that I got some stitchy kindness from Kim over in the States, who had posted on the page that she's willing to send these magazine pages out and all that sort of stuff. And I kept on forgetting to show the dang thing. So I purposely put this here so I could show it. To again, thank you very much, Kim. Got this lovely card and a wonderful message inside. And it really, you know, really was touching, and I really appreciated it very much. And this is, now she didn't send me the whole magazine, she sent me the pages that she was offering to send, and they're perfect. So actually that was the other one. Have I got a picture of him without, oh, here we go. Okay, so this is the one that she was offering, and I thought he was really, really cute, and I thought, oh, I wouldn't mind doing him. He'd be really cool as a little stand-up, don't you think? So I sort of thought, oh, yes, please. And I managed to get him. But she didn't want him travelling on his own, so she sent his girlfriend. So I'm thinking, if I do her in a small frame and have him standing next to her. So there she is. Isn't she cute? So thank you again very much, Kim. I am definitely adding that into my rotation. So haul wasn't a lot this week, just saying. I did get a couple more pairs of scissors. Nothing fancy, just, you know, simple ones that work. New blades for my rotary cutter. I think when it cut my finger, it might have blunted it a bit because it's a sodding thing. I got this stuff to try. I don't know if anyone has tried it before, but anything that stops me having to sew, I'm over the moon. Oh my god, the lighting's going weird again. Is this stuff here. I don't know if anyone's used it before or anything like that, but I just sort of thought, if that means I don't have to do a hem, which means a long straight line, it's me. I'm doing that. Okay, so I'm just gonna grab these. Now I lightly ran an iron over these. Oh, that goes with the stitchy plans. I got my May-June Jodyri clubs. So she threw in a couple of the limited edition threads for me with my limited edition fabric. So this one is the May fabric, and it's called Autumn Blaze. And those are the threads, the limited edition threads as well. don't know if it's gonna, I'm having a hard time seeing the screen, so I don't know if you can see that. Isn't that gorgeous? Loving that. So yes, I lightly ran the iron over so that it wouldn't be all kinky when I showed it to you guys. And then this one is the June limited edition called Buttercup Fields, which again I think is really, really gorgeous. The colour, I hope it's going to catch it because it is a gorgeous golden, oh, actually it's pretty good. Oops. It is really a gorgeous colour. And then there's the matching thread. But that is beautiful. So really, really happy with the limited edition ones. And then for, let me have a look. Okay, so this is a special die one. It's called Swirling Blossoms. Look at that. I don't know, I'm actually, now that I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, could this be something that makes me do a mermaid? I don't know. I've never done a mermaid, never been interested in doing mermaids, but you never know. I'm learning, never say never, because I'm willing to try all these different ones. But that's gorgeous. Again, these are all 14 count opal. I won't start getting the non-opal until the September ones, because she's so used to dyeing opal for me that she just automatically, and she asked, you know, do I want her to re-dye it on the plain? I said, oh, no, you've dyed it, you go for it. This one here is beautiful. It's called Maypole Ribbon. I think it is Maypole Ribbons. And it's a very, very pale, pale green. And I love it. I'm thinking, because I'm wanting to do some seasonal, oh, that's not right. It's probably close to it. With some yellow in it. Honestly, I'm really going to start doing some of the spring ones that I've chosen. This one is Shimmering Seas. It's another of her tie-dyed ones, the tie-dyed special dye. Ooh. Maybe that one would have a mermaid. It would have to be a small mermaid. I mean, like the Mirabilia ones, aren't they pretty big? I just want a small mermaid, nothing huge. If I'm going to do one. Doesn't say I'm going to do one, just if. I might find something completely different to use for that. It might be some fairies or something. And then the last of the clubs that arrived was Amethyst, which is an old limited or club one from I think 2015, and she's just done a short run for this month's neutrals and pastels. That is a beautiful purple. I love purple. Purple's my favourite colour. Oh, voice is going. This is going to be interesting. So I have done my little labels for those, so now I can put them away and not worry about keeping them in plastic bags, because I don't want to keep them in plastic. So they're just going to get hung up in my wardrobe. What else? Oh, I did a thing. I am now a Patreon member, so I have got some new charts. Two came with the Patreon, and one I bought. So I'll do the bought one first, and then we'll discuss the Patreon. So this one here, the reason I got it, and my printer is pretty much on its last legs, so it didn't print the front page wonderfully, but I think it did. Yeah, maybe I just need new ink. And my settings are really weird. I've got to reset it. But anyway, I got this one, and the reason is because I do love Alice in Wonderland, and I've got that whip, the Alice in Wonderland sale by Satsuma Street. The thing is, it's just not calling to me. I'm still not 100% sure I'm actually going to continue it. It might just, you know, if somebody wants to take it over and they've got the chart I'll send it and that sort of stuff. I'm still thinking about that. I'm trying not to do anything like that while my mind is in this sort of headspace, because I might regret it later on. So I did a big cleanup. I put away any whips that the likelihood of me picking up this year is slim to none, so that they don't keep sort of looking at me and saying, why haven't you done anything on me? Which just made me feel crap. So I've put all of those away, and one of those ones that I've put away is the Alice in Wonderland. The other one, which is a bit of a shock, is Bellatrix. Yep, she's been put away. The thought of having to stitch a couple of thousand beads when my headspace isn't great, and it's been a struggle all year, I don't want to screw that up. So for her safety, let alone mine, I've popped her away, and I'll be bringing her back out next year to see if I can finish her then. But I mean, I finished stitching her this year. I started her last year, so she's not that old, and I'll get her done. But anyway, the thing is, when I'm not going to say my style, but my access to cottons and threads has really changed in the last 18 months in particular, or even the last 12 months. And suddenly I've got all these overdyes and stuff, and I just love stitching with them, and I want to stitch with those. And unfortunately, when you have these older whips, which just use, and DMC is fantastic, but when that's all you use on it with a bit of metallic thread, oh no, it just doesn't hold my attention. It doesn't have that appeal to me anymore, even though I love all the colours of it. So I saw this, I was, just doing a bit of surfing, and I'm still sticking to my, if I'm not going to stitch it within 3 months, I'm not buying it, because I'm actually starting this one this week, because I really love it. It's called Alice and the Mad Hatter. It's by the Floss Box. I'll try and remember to put the link down below. Love on the front, it says, this pattern is for your use only. Please be sure to make backup copies, but please do not sell or distribute this pattern. And that's fair enough. So the picture isn't great. Oh, maybe it doesn't show up too bad. Here we go. So it's the Floss Box. And I just thought, oh my God, look at that cat, look at the caterpillar. I mean, for crying out loud, hello. And so I don't think it's checked. Did I even look to see how big this dang thing is? No, of course I didn't. Don't be silly. Really, really clear chart, which is fantastic. Way heaps of colours. But obviously, not a heap of all the colours. Okay, so it's not too big. It's 135 by 146. So on 14 count, I wish they put inches as well as centimetres. It's 24.49 by 26.49 centimetres. It's like 2.5 centimetres for an inch. Is that right? I'll work it out. You know what? One of those new Jodyri fabrics may be getting pulled for this. So I'll be starting that in the next fortnight. Now the other one, the Patreon that I was talking about, I have been looking at doing it for a while, but trying to decide on who. I can't afford to be Patreon for a bunch of them, so I wanted to, one, feel it was good value for money, and two, love their product. So I have been considering this for the last few weeks, or actually the last couple of months, and I didn't know what this month's releases were going to be. All I had seen was a past release that Patreons get, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to have to sign up with them, because if I'm missing out on those sorts of charts, I'm getting really bugged. Fortunately, you can purchase the past Patreon designs if that's what you want to do. I do have coffee down there, but it's still hot. So, drum roll. There's a gift sound thing. I have signed up with Teresa Kogut. I've never stitched any of her designs, but I've loved a lot of her designs. And so I sort of thought, right, it's the start of the month, I need to choose. I don't know why I said I need to choose, but I felt it was good to choose at the start of the month, because you hear a lot of the time, if you're going to sign up to be a Patreon, and, you know, say you sign up on the 25th of the month, you'll get charged on that day, you know, and then you get charged again on the 1st for the next month. So I sort of thought, I want the gap. So on payday, I went and signed up. Actually, not on payday, I had a little bit of cash left over. So I went and signed up to Teresa Kogut. And I am on tier 3, where I get 2 charts each month. So the way that hers works, so level 1, you don't get anything free, but you do get information, which is cool, and it is supporting Teresa. Tier 2, you get a free chart and access, and that sort of thing. Tier 3, you get 2 free charts plus, you know, access to their secret store, as well as a discount on Etsy. And then tier 4, you get 3 free charts. Now, when you have a look at the prices and stuff like that, it works out to be a really good value for money to get the 2 charts, let alone any access to anything else, plus discount off your website, you know, off your Etsy, not including bags and stuff like that, but off your charts. You know, that's really, really good value. So this month's ones for the tier 2, 3 and 4, so this is one that the 2s have access to as well, Stitch and Witches. So, you know, hello, it's like that's going to be a must do, this one. And this one, Mischief Bruin, and you would have seen this on Pam and Steph, because I think they showed this last week, I think. And oh, the lighting here. It is so cute. I love that owl, honestly. What's not good about an owl in a top hat? And there's no alphabet. How happy am I? You know, it's like, oh my god, there's no alphabet, and it's like a sampler sort of thing. So, woo! Sorry, I probably got a bit loud then because I was too close to the thing. Okay, now was that all I was showing? Oh, so that was my haul with, you know, a couple of new charts and that sort of stuff. My honey has brought me, sorry, dropping stuff. Has brought me one of these. It's a I haven't opened it yet, but if you recall my comment about how organised the Aussie floss tubers are when they come to New Zealand, both Judy from An Aussie in a Kiwi World and Nicole, the North Island Stitcher, Nick, oh, see, I'm going to get smacked for that one. Sorry, darling. They're so organised. You know, they've got these books and they, you know, and I just sort of thought, well, if I'm going into next year with all these new plans, maybe I need to get something like this. Although I would love one of those book of days. So if someone can let me know when they're available for New Zealand, maybe who in New Zealand might be selling them or importing them or getting them, because I would, not that I'm big on stickers, so maybe I don't. Maybe this will do if I just... Anyways, my honey got me this. See, this is what I mean, brain sort of... okay, so because I wasn't overly focused on stitching, especially yesterday and Friday, obviously, I decided to reorganise my room. So here are some of the pictures of my reorganisation. somebody said it must be really lovely to have all your finished items, you know, sort of dotted around. And I realised, now I've been stitching for 20 years, and I realised this is the first time I've ever displayed anything I've stitched. I never have. I've just kept them all in boxes. So, and she's right. It's a wonderful feeling. No, they're not perfect. They're for me. I don't give a rat's if they're perfect, because I'm not. So for those of you that aren't sure, while I get a lot of fulfillment in completing a project or stitching on a project, there's something about walking into a room and seeing them just sort of spotted around and stuff that really brings home how wonderful this hobby is, this craft is, because it's joyous, you know, looking at it and knowing that the time, you know, especially I don't know whether it's because you reach a certain age and you realize how much time has gone, and you wonder, oh my God, what have I been doing with my life? Well, for the last 20 years I've been doing these, and it makes me want to display more of them and to create more with them than just a whole bunch of framed items and stuff like that, so that they can be dotted around rather than filling up just wall space, and, you know, putting holes in walls and stuff like that. At least doing, you know, flat finishes and pillows and ornaments, I have the potential to have them on display a lot easier no matter where I'm living. So one of the things I was doing, as you would have seen, reorganising everything, I was sorting out my whips of ones that I have the potential to actually pick up again at some point this year. Everything else got put away because I wanted the project bags. I'm in awe of people that have, like, you know, huge numbers of whips, and all of them seem to have their own project bag, and I'm thinking, dang, you know, I get mine made because I can't make one. I couldn't do that for all of them. It would, because I'm sort of like, and when you finish the project, what then? But chances are, if you're like the rest of us, you just put something else back into it. Next project. But because I can't do that, I removed those and put them into a different storage system for, I'm not going to say UFOs, because it, you know, I am going to get back to them at some point. I just don't know when. If not, then I'll be passing them on to someone else that might be interested in doing them. And I have got 13 whips, apart from the couple, the Potions and Spells and the Witchy Tea Time. But otherwise I've got 13 whips left. And I've got a whole bunch of lovely empty project bags. I think I've got about another 8. But I'm doing my project bags a little differently now, because I'm starting to sort of narrow down the designers and stuff that I'm wanting to stitch, rather than everything. And because I'm getting multiple charts for each of them, so like, you know, cottage, I always get this wrong, cottage garden needleworks, no, it's not right, country cottage needleworks, little house needleworks, blackbird, plum street, yeah, you know what I mean, hands-on designs, autumn lane, Luba Davies, did I say plum street? Anyway, so I'm sort of focusing, finally a Farmgirl is another one, just trying to remember the tags that I did. And then there's miscellaneous as well. But instead of having a single project in each bag, the ones that have multiple designs I've just put a label on. So I've just done these labels. Now, to attach them, the lovely Judith, who's the one that made the bag for me, she sent me these little clips. And this is why I'm telling you about it, because this was, rather than me having to use my gun thing all the time, she sent me these clips. I don't know how well they're going to show up. They're basically a safety pin in the shape of a light bulb is basically what it is. So, I don't know if you can, oh, there we go. So that is basically what it is. It's a safety pin in the shape of a light bulb. Yeah, monkey. Yeah. So that's what I use to attach my little tags onto the zips of my project bags. Yes, that's right, monkey. So what I'm planning on doing today is, ow, claws in the knee. Come on then. Yeah. Bobby's up there. Here's our monkey. He's missing a few little nicks out of his ears now. He's been getting into trouble, haven't you? But he's been a very good friend over the last couple of weeks. Very smoochy and snuggly. Apart from when he comes in sopping wet and puts wet paw prints all over the bed, in the pillows, in me, and then gets grumpy at me when I decide to try and dry him with a towel. Oh, can I rewind? What was I doing? That's right. So yeah, so this afternoon what I'm planning on doing is the charts that I've printed up and that sort of stuff in their categories. I'm going to put them into their assigned bags, and then when I'm ready to do one of their charts, that's when I'll kit them up. So I'm not going to kit up a whole bunch of projects anymore, because I don't want to have to go and buy more cotton when I've already got it, and maybe I'm not going to do that chart anytime soon, or you know, stuff like that. And by the time I do it, I could have ordered another one but started this one. So I'm not even going to assign fabric. I'm just going to have them in there, and then a card noting which charts are in there. And that includes my, you know, my hard copy charts as well as my printed ones. I mean, actually, I don't even know if I'll print up the whole chart. I might just print up the covers so I know which charts I've actually got as PDFs in those designs. With the hard copy ones, I might actually do a working copy of each one before I put them into the bag, so that I don't have to worry about doing the working copy of those when I go to do it, just in case my printer is doing its thing. So yeah, so that's what I was sort of planning on this afternoon, as well as working on my daughter's Arson one. But meanwhile, I do have a few other ones that I'm thinking of starting. I'm looking at doing a lot of starts over the next 6 weeks. In preparation for next year, because I'm not going to do any new starts next year. So if there's going to be any challenges, I'm screwed if they involve. But you know, that's why I'm going to try. But I'm going to have samplers. I'm, scarily enough, looking at doing a full coverage. Nothing big, but I've shortlisted it down to 2. Both of them are Randall Spangler. One is the history of chocolate, and the history of coffee is the other one. So they're, you know, story keeps. I just sort of thought that would be cool. And now I do have the scroll frames, and I've taken Bellatrix out of it, so if it is a little bit bigger, because yeah, I'm really stepping out of my normal zone and trying new things. So I'm also going to try a long dog sampler. I got it narrowed down to, I think, the wishing tree. I still don't get the whole motif thingy where it's like just a whole bunch of shapes and stuff. I know that some people enjoy that. No, I just, I'm going to do motifs. I'd rather do a whole bunch of small things, not all in one big whopping great big thing. So yeah, each their own. They look beautiful when people do them. It's just not something that I want to do. Never say never. I'm so long dog, Hare, and a few samplers. Especially because I watched Teresa. Oh, that's right. What have I watched on Flosstube? I did watch a Teresa Kogut one, a recent one, and she did mention that she's starting to design for next month's Patreon, which is Sampler, you know, Sampler September. So there's going to be some samplers, and I'm just like, good timing. I chose the right time to sign up. But there's a couple of her past Patreon ones which I am going to purchase because I love them. I'm starting to love any that have, you know, I'm loving the houses. I'm loving the ones with the birds and especially strawberries and berries. I don't know why. I'm just loving those. And so that's pretty much going to be a big focus for the rest of the year probably, as well as my, you know, my Halloween smalls, because I've got a folder which I've printed up all my Halloween smalls from the Just CrossStitch magazines. Actually, there's 2 folders. So I've got about 40, maybe closer to 60 of these small ones from the various Just CrossStitch magazines right back. You know, there might be a few from, you know, each year up until 2020, and then there's more designs because I've done a lot of the older ones already. So I'm just going to keep chipping away at those and get through all the ones that I've really loved and stuff like that. That's going to be an ongoing project. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to do a summer, autumn, winter, spring once I finally decide which one I want to do, which set I want to do. So far, is it Croqueta Go-Go? Croqueta Go-Go. I probably pronounced it wrong. Anyway, so far that one's the top of the running. You know, and it's not because it's free. It's just because I like the houses that are in the design. So far that's at the top, unless I decide to just go for something little, tiny ones. But I don't really want to do that. I want to do something that's a bit bigger because I've got a couple of boards that maybe I can do the whole magnet thing. I don't know, that I switch out. The other one I want to do, and I've got, is the hands-on design, I think it is, their monthly one. Now, the reason I want to do that one, and I have been hunting for a 12-month one, in which I have liked every single month. Now, I'm not wanting to cause any offense to my American friends or anything like that, but I'm not American, and July always has this patriotic one. Patriotic, and I'm like, I wish they'd do an alternative version for those that aren't American so that it's universal. You know, love the fact that Americans are so patriotic and that they're proud of that. That's wonderful. But I'm a Kiwi. And I'd love a New Zealand designer to sort of design something sort of for us. Would be wonderful if any of you are out there. But and so I've been looking all year for one. I just about settled on this, is it Snowflower Diaries, with all the animals, that Joyful World, I think it is, which was a free series. And I have got all of those. So I don't know, I might do 2 sets. But then I found the hands-on design one. Now they're July and they're November. Both have 2 options. And the second option for each of them is a Canadian version. I know I'm a Kiwi, but I'm half Canadian. So that I will do. For us, it's, you know, celebrate Canada Day on July 1st, I think it is. And then, of course, you know, November, remember. So yeah, so I'm going to be starting those. So they're going to be my smalls for next year. Those sorts of things. So my Halloween and those. And I'm also wanting to make some more things like pin keeps, and I want to make a needle book. I actually want to make one. And that sort of stuff. But otherwise, I'm actually planning on a lot of larger projects. So I watched, so Teresa, she mentioned what's coming up for Patreon. So who else did I watch this week? I watched Nancy from The Disorderly Stitcher. I love watching her. Honestly, she is so cruised. You know, she's so laid back and just like, you know. It's like, I love that attitude. So yeah, so I enjoy watching Nancy. Every time I watch her, I giggle. Honestly, her attitude and the way she looks at things, and she's a real historic nut. And it was actually really interesting. I learn something new every time I watch Nancy, and it's not about CrossStitch. It's usually about, you know, some historical thing or something like that, because they sort of get dropped in there, and it's interesting. You know, I love watching her. So if you haven't seen her before, go and check out Nancy, the Disorderly Stitcher. The thing that attracted me to go and watch her to start with was the fact she's a disorderly stitcher. I'm like, oh, kindred. The next one I love watching is Beth from the Steadfast Stitcher. She's so lovely. She's just, you know, she's just like, you know, your mate, your friend, and she's so welcoming. And she has some incredible projects. They're huge babs, really great big things. And I'm sort of thinking it's going to be me next year. I'll be having a lot of big projects and not a lot of small ones. But Beth is turning a nice birthday next year, and she was talking about, you know, whether to start that many projects or what. And I just said to her, I said, well, I turned 50 this year. My goal is to do 50 projects, not start them, but complete them. And I said, I actually did a count. I'm actually up to 71. It's a bit of a bloody shocker, isn't it? I mean, admittedly, a lot of them are small ones, and that's fine. Small to medium. When you mess them all up, you know, if I was to add up all my stitches and stuff like that, it would be a couple of big ones. So, still pretty good results. So if you haven't watched Beth, please go and check her out, Steadfast Stitcher. I'll try and remember to put all this info down below. One that's relatively new is Sarah from Sarah's Stitches. Now, she's lovely, and this week, her intro is great. It's sung in written by her husband, who also plays the guitar and stuff like that. And that's the intro music. Well, this week he performed it live, and it was wonderful. Well, this, you know, the last recording, and it was great. And he's a lovely guy. So we got to meet him as well, and she does some beautiful work as well. So if you haven't seen Sarah, go and check her out. She's got some lovely projects on the go, and it's well worth. See, I'm forgetting where I'm watching. It's well worth going to see. Of course, I watched Chrissy, Finding a Farmgirl. The latest Jeremiah I've noticed on Instagram has just been released. So the Wizarding Jeremiah, again, that's on my list to get, but I've got to finish this Jeremiah first, and then I'll grab him to do him next. And then I've got my 2 Matildas to do still as well. And she mentioned that her daughter has now got an Etsy shop as well, and her daughter, she doesn't do cross-stitch designs, she does floss drops and the ring bling. I don't know, is that what you call it? You know, the little charm that you put on the rings, on the floss rings. So she's got a new shop. So all her information, if you go and check out Chrissy's last episode, you'll see it all on there. I think it'd probably be on her Instagram as well. Of course, the wonderful Stitchman Darcy made an appearance this week. And it's great to see him back in form. And got, you know, he's got a Stitchy mojo back, and I love Cary Grant. I think Cary Grant rocks, and that's his newest design in his Etsy store. So if you're a Cary Grant fan and you love doing those sorts of designs, go and check it out. He's got some other great ones. I've got a couple in my watch list. One is Yippee Kaye, and but I've got his other one that I've still got to do. So I'm not going to buy any more until I finish that design. I've got to start it. That's what I mean about getting myself organised, of plans of which things I'm going to start in the next year, in the next 6 months, 4 months. Wow. Missed Chris this week. No Chris it up. Chris CrossStitch. Chris X CrossStitch, because there's Chris CrossStitch is another person, and then there's, so it's very confusing. And of course I caught up on all my regulars, so Brenda and Laura, Serial Starter, Kitschy Whips. She was so funny this week. Honestly, if you want a giggle, go and check out Kitschy Whips. You've really got to. She is Maggie. She is so funny, and her, you know, the things that she gets and the questions she asks are pretty dang realistic questions. It's like, really? Is it supposed to be like this? And what are they thinking? And she has no qualms about asking those sorts of questions. Good on her. But, you know, she always, every single time I've seen her, I'm always smiling at the end of the episode. Always. She's just a bit out there. She's a bit quirky. Love it. So yes, I caught up with Kitschy Whips. Who else? Rebel Stitcher, Stitch Roadies, Stitchy Witch 42 is not feeling too good, so I hope if she's watching this that she gets better soon. Not good, but yeah. And you know, there was a lot of others. I did my first Zoom stitch thingies. That was interesting. I did, okay, one, we went into the room, Judy and I went into the room, you know, obviously different locations. Okay, I'm going to go in now, and we were the only ones there, and we, you know, hung around in the room for a while. We were there for like 2 hours, and it was great because we probably got about 10 stitches, and it was it, you know, because we were busy yakking, because we weren't, you know, we were the only ones in there, so we just sort of thought, well, hey, we got the camera on, and you know, she's up north, so yeah, there you go. So that was an interesting, but it was a good trial run for each of us, because neither of us had done a Zoom before, to see how, you know, to set it up and to get into these things. And then New Zealand has their Stitch, not a Zoom, it's like there's a room, Facebook room or something like that. So I tried that out on not Friday just gone, the Friday before, and that was really good. I enjoyed that. And again, I was in there, and yeah, I was one of the last to leave. There was me and Nick. We were the last to leave, to close the door of the room. And that was at about, I don't know, was it 2 or 3 o'clock? I don't know. I know it was early morning, because each of us had things we were supposed to do the next morning. Hopefully she got enough sleep, because she, you know. And then on the Sunday last week, Darren, Dizzy Stitcher, he had his one, which was for the Americans mainly, you know, for the time zones and that sort of stuff. But it was, you know, Sunday noon for us, so I signed in, and that was quite nice. I got to admit, I loved hearing all the different accents and that sort of thing, and seeing what people are working on was lovely. And it was great to see Gail from Wombat. Oh, I always get this wrong. Wombat Hollow. Sorry, Gail. It was wonderful to see her on there as well. She's looking good. And it was nice to see Darren sort of like, I mean, I see him obviously on Flosstube, but you know, it was just nice to see him as well. And the few others that were in and out, which was really nice. And then Judy and I decided we're going to try to jump in another room on a different page. It was interesting. I didn't stay for as long in that one. Not a lot of stitchy talk going on. And then I popped in briefly on Friday. I just couldn't stay for long. I was hoping to get back into it, but I just, nah. But that was really interesting. So if you know of any Zoom meetings or, you know, Zoom groups and stuff like that, honestly, give it a go. You don't have to say anything. You can just sit there and stitch and be around people in that way. And it's actually really good, especially for if you're like me, where you don't like being around a lot of people, like physically around a lot of people, but still be part of a community. It was actually really lovely, and so I'm hoping to do that a few more times. I don't know if I'm going to do another Stitch with me. I'm still considering and contemplating. I think my head has to be in a better space to do something like that. But it was a good experiment, and it was fun to do. So never say never. I'm definitely learning that in the cross-stitch world. And yeah, I'm just going to sort of carrying on and seeing what I can do. I honestly don't know if Witchy Tea Time is going to get pulled out again in the next fortnight. I think I want to work on that Welcome Foolish Mortals, because that's older. That was one from 2020, and that's got a lot of black on it. So I think in all honesty, Witchy Tea Time's getting put away. Foolish Mortals is getting pulled out for the next fortnight. I'm going to see if I can finish Jeremiah. I'm going to start the Alice and Max Mad Hatter. Alice and Max. I might grab another whip. I want to work on Grace. I didn't touch Grace at all, or Miss Ladybug this fortnight. I feel really gutted. So those two are getting pulled back out and put on the stack to take in. It's too cold for me to stay in here all day to stitch at the moment, and I don't want to heat up 2 rooms. So I'm just doing all my stitching back in my room again, and that sort of stuff. So, I think that's everything. So all my plans, I'm just keeping really loose plans. And I think, for me anyway, I know that some people like knowing exactly what they're doing, and they've got their planner and all that sort of stuff. And I'm sure that's great, but I'm just not someone that will stick to it. You know, in all honesty, it's like, yeah, no, I'm not feeling that right now, and I stitch as I feel. You know, if I'm, you know, so in all honesty, considering how I've been feeling, I'm really surprised I've stitched a lot of these lovely flowery baskets and colourful things, and I'm moving away from the black, but maybe that's why. I don't want the black, I don't want the darkness. So I'm stitching bright, colourful things, which is so not usual for me over the last few years, but there you go. I had hoped to do a new start in memory of Dad on Friday, but I couldn't find anything that called after I saw a particular chart. And yeah, I will start something for him, but I'm gonna wait to find the right one, and we'll go from there. So there we go. So my voice is about to go, as you can hear. Apparently I'm going to sound like one of those 0900 callers. I don't know, phone people. I don't know what the hell they're called. Anyway, so my chocolate chip cookie is calling. It is, I don't know, probably close to 1 o'clock. That'll be my lunch. I'll just have a chocolate. There's nothing wrong with a chocolate chip cookie for lunch, is there? Recipe. And I'll go and have my coffee, and then decide. I'm gonna kit up the Mad Hatter and start Alice and the Mad Hatter and look at that one, and finish organising my other bags with the charts that I've got printed up and put them into their bags, so I can start noting down what charts I've got, and then that way, you know, if something's like, oh, and I can go and have a look, and I can say, oh yeah, I've got that one. Sweet, I'm going to do that. I mean, I don't know if I'm going to start Alice today. I was just sort of thinking, actually, maybe I should start August, one of the month ones, because hey, you know, we're halfway through August. I can't believe we're halfway through August. So anyway, who knows? You know, that's what I mean. Total train wreck. Have no idea what I'm doing. And giving up on the straightener. As long as I just keep going like this, it's not too bad. Oh, except for that ruddy bird's nest at the back, which I know I brushed out, but it just keeps coming back. Anyway, I'm rambling, so I'm going to head off now. You guys have a fantastic fortnight. I hope you're all keeping well, and over in the States, I hope, and over UK as well, and obviously Europe, I don't know, wherever you guys are too hot, you know, hopefully you guys are keeping hydrated, keeping, you know, rest when you can. You know, the siesta in the afternoon, it's a good plan. And for those over on this side of the world who are saying it's a bit cool, can I just point out when Darren, if you're watching this, your comment about how cold it is, I'm just sort of sitting there thinking, dang it, you know, we're in single figures. And you're complaining that, you know, 20 degrees is cold. It's like, holy crap. It's like, I wouldn't. To me, a wonderful day is about 18 degrees. You know, that to me is a temperature, 18, 19. That's a good temperature. Anything too much more over that, too hot, too, you know, way under that, too cold. We're in the too cold stage. So keep warm where you're cold. Keep cool where you're hot. Make sure you stay hydrated, you eat well, and rest. And that is today's medical review. Anyway. Okay, I'm starting to lose it now, so I've got to go before you guys see the other side of me, which causes more mischief. So from Bobby, and Bobby, are you going to say goodbye? Are you still grumpy with Mummy? Do you want one of your biscuits? And brush your teeth? Want to brush your teeth? Yeah? Okay. Right, so he's saying you're going to brush your teeth. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to go. We're going to do this. And I'm going to edit this. And I'll hopefully remember to put stuff down below. We'll see where my hair's going because it's going on a journey. Are you happy you stayed till the end of these things? Anyway, you guys take care. Remember, march to the beat of your own drum because that's where the magic happens. Take care, everyone. Toodles. See you in 2 weeks.